Hey everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss about what is an object and what is a constructor. Okay. So in future interviews they will ask like what is an object. So we should have some definition ready. So object is a runtime entity, right? So object doesn't exist during the compile time. Okay. So they are created in the heap memory. Okay. The simple definition which one should remember. And yeah, coming to the constructor. So we know how to create object, right? We'll use the new keyword and then we'll be calling the constructor, right? If you see here the sample program, so you're using the new keyword and you're calling the constructor, and the object will be created, the reference will be returned and will be stored in the this reference variable value, right? And this reference is of type A. So what will happen and why do we need these constructors? So this constructor are actually used to create object. Okay. And then after instantiating the object will contain some variables. So those variable will be initialized to some values. Either it will be initialized to default value, or it will be initialized to some values. Okay. It is up to the user whether he want to provide some value to the variables of the object during the object creation, or if we want to go with the default values. Also, apart from instantiating and initializing the object, we can also perform some logic during the object creation. Okay. Yeah. So if you see here in the sample program, so I have created a class, declared a non-static variable. I have a non-static method which is printing the non-static variable value a. But what is this is a keyword. It's a current object reference variable. We'll have a separate video on this in super keyword, but for now what it is actually I just want to give some context around this keyword. So this refers to the current object reference variable. Okay. So whatever the current object you create and you call this method, so that time that method will be treated as the current object, and that object reference will be stored in this keyword. Okay. So this is a reference variable which will be holding the current object reference value. Okay. Yeah. So I also have a main method where I'm creating the object of class A and I'm calling the create message method. Okay, using this object. And if you see here, I'm calling a default constructor, but within this class there is no default constructor. So from where this default constructor will be called? Did we create this? No. So it's a compiler responsibility to create the default constructor when there is no constructor defined at the class level. Okay. So that is what the second point is. So default constructor will be added automatically by the compiler if it is not defined by the user at the class level. Okay. So in this example, we don't have the default constructor defined at the class level, so it's the compiler's responsibility to create it, and that's why the object is created, and yeah, and the integer value, reference value of this object will be initialized to 0. That's a default value, right? Yeah. And the same, using the same object, you're calling this message greet message method, and you are printing the object's non-static variable a value, so it will print 0. Okay. We will see what is the output and we'll get more clarity. So whatever we discussed is what happening, right? Object A is created and object A contains A's variable, integer variable, and it is initialized to 0 because we are relying on the default constructor defined by the compiler. So the A variable will be 0, and with the object A we are calling the greet message, Okay, and in the greet message, what is the implementation? We are just printing the current object the variable value a, right? So that's what it is. So that's why we got this output, right? This is what about the default constructor. Okay, so if you don't want to rely on the default constructor, if you want to define your own constructor, you can very well define that. So this is the process. So the you can define the default constructor uh, at the class level, and if you see, the constructor doesn't have any return type. There won't be return type. Suppose if you are defining some return type for constructor, it will be treated as a normal method. Okay, so this will be an interview question. So the interviewer may ask, like, do we have a return type for a constructor? It is no. Can we define a return type for constructor? Yes, but if you define a return type, it will become like a normal method. It won't be treated as a constructor, even though the method name is same as the class name. Okay, so the constructor doesn't have any return types. This is what the syntax it is. Okay, and within this default constructor, what you want to do, you don't want to initialize the integer a variable value to 0 default value. You want to initialize it to 20. Okay, and in this case, what will happen? You should print 20, right? Let's try to execute this and see what is the output. See here, a variable value is 20. So you have defined your own constructor, default constructor, and the same way you can also create a constructor with argument at the class level. Okay, see here, what I'm doing here is I have defined a constructor with arguments, one argument. It's taking the integer variable, and that variable value should be assigned to this integer variable a. So whenever you create an object, you have to pass some value, and that value will be assigned to the object's variable a. Okay, and let's see, we'll run this and let's see what is the output. See here, so you can also define the argument, constructor with argument. It's not a default constructor, right? Not necessarily that you should always define the default constructor. Okay, yeah, this is what about the third point, and the next point is the constructor can be overloaded. Okay, so what is the overloading concept? We'll discuss that elaborately in the later videos, but here, specific to this topic, I'll just tell you. So you can, like, if you have a case, I'll just give you a use case, like I also have an integer value, integer variable b. Okay, so in this case, sometimes I have the requirement to pass one, I want to initialize only one integer variable value whenever the object is created, or I want to create initialize two variables whenever the object is created. So it's completely depend on my need, right? So I'm just modifying the existing code so that we'll cover the overloaded constructor topic. See here, this is also a constructor, this is also a constructor. We have defined two constructor, but where it is it's differ. So it differ at the argument level. So if you want to create an object by just want to initialize the a variable value, go ahead and use this object. Okay, and in the second case, if you want to create an object, but during the object creation you want to initialize two variable values a and b, that case use this constructor. Okay, let's try to execute this. Maybe before that, I just want to add few more yeah, it's two more line of code. I'm just saying I'm just defining another object, and I'm calling the overloaded constructor by passing some 60-70 values, and then I'm saying a2 dot greet message. Okay, let's also modify the greet message method by printing the b variable value also. Okay, so in this case we are not passing the b variable value. That's the reason it will just assign the so in this case it will just assign the variable value to integer variable a. So the first in this, once this two statement get executed, you will see the output 50 0, and once this get executed, what will happen, like this constructor will be called, and in this object these two variables will be created, and a will be initialized to 60 and b will be initialized to 70. Okay, that's how the program flow goes. Let's try to execute and see what the output is. See, okay, so I should modify the message. Let's try to run this again. Okay, so you see here a variable value. So with the first object you're calling the greet message. That case you are just initialize the, in this object only the a variable value is initialized to 50 and b is set to default value 0. That's the reason you got this output. And in the second case you are initializing a and b value to 60 and 70 respectively, and you got this output. Okay, so this is how the constructor overloading work. It is not only about initializing the object, you can also perform some action here by writing some code. Okay, so that covers the last point. Okay, so this is important question, and also yeah, there will be some questions around the constructors and object, and whether the constructors are overloaded or not. And yeah, there are a few more questions also will come by maybe the interview may they'll give a lot of overloaded constructor, and they will ask you to call a particular constructor. Yeah, there will be question frame around this topic. So yeah, this is the basic fundamental that we should remember, and if this is clear, then obviously we are going to answer the other questions. Yeah, so this is all about the constructors and the object. We'll meet with a new topic in the next video. Thank you.